Welcome back to Section 5, How to Add Materials and Keyframe Animation. In this section, we will be going over how to add our first animation using the rig that we created in the last section. Throughout this section, we will learn how to create new materials and assign them to different faces. After this, we will then go over the basics of creating a simple animation, including both the rig and the shape keys. In this video, we will be continuing from the last section, and we'll be adding new materials to different parts of our character. We will learn how to create new materials, how to enable the GOSL viewport shading, and lastly how to assign materials to different faces. The first thing I'm going to do is select my character's rig. After this, I'm going to press H to hide. In the outliner, you can see that the armature object has been hidden. After this, we are going to select our character. We will then go to the Materials tab, and from here we will click plus. This will add a new material slot. We will then click New to link a new material. Here I'm going to change the material name to be Container. After this, I'm going to go down to the Diffuse section, and from here we will click the white box. I'm going to choose a green color. After this, we will move our mouse outside of the window. We can also left-click to confirm. The next thing we are going to change is the specular on our material. From here we can increase or decrease the amount of specular to change how the model looks. In this case, we want to have a plastic look. And to achieve this, we also need to increase the hardness. In this case, I'm going to increase the hardness to 350. For this video, I'm going to be using an intensity of 0.28. The next thing we are going to do is improve the lighting of our scene. To do this, I'm going to select the lamp, and then I will change the lamp to be a sun. After this, I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate and move it across. I will then change this to a hemi, and here under the energy, I'm going to change it to 0.5. After this, I'm going to press N, and from here under shading, we will choose GLSL. After this, we will press N again, and then press Z and choose Texture View. We can now get a more accurate representation on the shading of our character. After this, we will select our character. Once we have selected our character, we will then add another material. Here I will click New, and this time I'm going to call it Border. From here I'm going to give it a grey color. After this, I will turn down the specular, and again turn up the hardness. Once we have done this, we will then add two more materials. Again, we will click New. This one here will be called Eyes, and the one underneath will be for the pupil. On the pupil material, we will turn the diffuse color to be black. After this, we will again increase the hardness. After this, I'm going to decrease the specular. On the eye material, we are also going to decrease the specular and increase the hardness. Once we have added these materials, we are then going to select our character and press numpad 1. After this, I'm going to press Z and go into Wireframe. We will then press Tab and go into Edit mode. From here we will assign different faces on our mesh to different materials on our object. To do this, I'm going to press A to deselect, B to box select, and then I'm going to drag over these bottom wheels. I will then press Ctrl L, and after this we will assign it to the border material. After this, I'm going to press A to deselect, then scroll up to zoom in, and from here I'm going to press B to box select again, and this time I'm going to select the bottom portion. From here again I'm going to assign it to the border material. After this, I'm going to press A to deselect. I will then hold down Shift and hold down the scroll wheel and move my mouse down. I will then press A to deselect and then B to box select, and again select this top half. Here you will notice that other faces on the mesh have also become selected. However, in this case, it does not matter as we will be reassigning them later. After this, I'm going to go to Border and click Assign. Once we have done this, we are then going to press Z and go back into Texture View. From here, we are going to move around our character. The next thing we are going to do is assign the eyes material. To do this, we are going to press A to deselect, select one vertice, and press Ctrl L. After this, we will go to the Materials, choose Eyes, and click Assign. After this, we will do the same for the other eye. Ctrl L, and then Eyes, and Assign. After this, we have to set the pupils of our character. We are going to zoom in on our character's face. Here, we are going to select the bottom eyelid and press Ctrl L. After this, we will press H. We are going to select Face Selection, then we will press B and Box Select. After this, we will go to Pupil and click Assign. Again, we will do the same for the other eye. Here, we will select a face, Ctrl L, H, and then press B to Box Select, and here we will assign it to Pupil. After this, we will press A to deselect, and then hold down Shift and select each of the eyebrows. I will then press Ctrl L to select all linked faces. We can now create a new material or use an existing one. In this case, I'm going to be using the border material here and clicking Assign. The last thing we are going to do is assign materials to our robotic arm. I'm going to press Alt-H to unhide all vertices before I begin. This will make the eyelids visible again. I will then press A to deselect. After this, I will click the plus icon and add a new material. From here, we will call this joint. I will then go down to the specular property and set the intensity to 0. After this, I will set the diffuse to a blue color. Once we've done this, we will left click outside of the color ring, then we will select a face, here Ctrl L, and assign it to the joint. Again, we will repeat this for all the other joints on our character. Select a face, then Ctrl L, and assign to joint. After this, I will add another white material, and this one will be called a metal arm. Again, here I'm going to turn off the specular, and this time we are going to assign it to these robotic arms. Here I'm going to press Ctrl L, scroll down and select metal arm. Then click Assign. The last thing we have to do is add a material to each of the clamps. To do this, I'm going to press A to deselect, hold down Shift and select one face and the other face, Ctrl L, and then assign it to the border material. Once we've done this, we will then press Tab and go back to Object Mode. We have now completed adding materials to our character. The last thing I'm going to do is press Ctrl S and save.